You know, some days you're the road runner, and other days you're Wile E. Coyote watching the road runner just take off on you and fly into the distance. Hello and welcome. For those new to my channel, welcome. For those returning, welcome back. This is the Shimano Find Your Fast Stage 3 Loop-de-Loop, where we go around the Zwift beachfront area multiple times in an almost figure 8 fashion. And so as we head out of the pen here, we are heading up to the S's and then going to go around the S's, loop back, come down, go back to the Zwift KOM, loop around, and then do it all over again. So see me checking my phone there because I, in a panic, thought I didn't turn on the recording, but then realized that I did. And so all was right in the world at that moment. Pushing on, you see JD there a couple places behind me. And as we roll through this, I start to find that I am pushing the front way too much. And so as I come up to the front here, I am doing my best to just kind of keep my pace going. Now this is the range 2, I believe. So we're talking 390 to 450 in terms of the group, which, given the range, I didn't know what to expect. I feel like these are, when it comes to the range, I feel like depending on who shows up is how your event is going to go. And in this case, the people that showed up were strong. We had some, great guys that showed up. And so I'm just confirming. Yeah, 330 to 450. That's what the group was. 330 to 450. My score right now is in the upper 300s, just below 400. So that's kind of where we're at. So the group that showed up is pretty strong. There was one person in particular that when I saw the name, I was like, all right, here we go. This is going to be a fight because I am sick and tired of losing to this person, and this time they're going to lose to me. And so I will call it out as I see the person come up. See, I pushed a little bit on there just to kind of keep myself up front, not trying to, when I came up front, I wasn't trying to, make a break for it. I ended up pushing up front, so I just stayed up there. And I ended up finding that I do that a lot on this stage. And so as we come up to the bridge here, I end up, again, pushing because I'm looking to stay with this front pack. I don't know if we're going to split apart like in previous. Again, because this is, because the range goes up to 450, I feel like, there's some stronger guys in this group. And that's my focus, is to, stay with these stronger guys. So I see this group of like 4 or 5 people go up front. And at this point, I'm thinking like, okay, are we going to bring them back? Through these S's, it becomes really hard to, if a pack goes, then it's possible that they can get away, depending on how you get through these S's. So as I pass through them, I keep pushing forward. But as you see, I'm not holding a high wattage, so I'm not trying to break away. I'm just trying to, keep my momentum. And as everybody comes back up, I, get back into the group here. And so as you see the rider in pink there, Leduc, that is the person that I am constantly going back and forth with. He is a strong rider, strong racer, and I've lost to him on numerous occasions. On one of the ZRLs, I beat him a couple times, and so every time I see him, I know that it's going to be a fight. He has a tendency to kind of launch off the front and, launch these strong attacks, and, sometimes they work well, sometimes they don't. In the Flat is Fast series, he did a couple on one race specifically, and I'll link that race if I have it. He did a couple big launches, and that kind of pushed the envelope with the group. So as we come up to the Zwift KOM, I'm thinking, I can go a moderate pace, stay close to the front guys, and I see, Leduc pushes up, a couple others start pushing up, and at this point I'm thinking like, okay, they're gonna make a break for it. I want to be there when they do, and so as I keep going, climb up to the front, and I see this, group starting to stretch out a bit. JD passes me, Leduc passes me, so I, hit my feather and start to push forward again. And as I start to creep up to the group, at this point I'm looking at it as, if we can stay together, then great. So there's, one guy off the front right now. The group itself is kind of still stuck together. And so as we come over the KOM, I'm just looking to stay with the group, not trying to, especially since there's only one guy off the front. And he is quite a bit away. There's, one 17 seconds ahead and one 15 or 5 seconds ahead. And so as this, as we start to push up, I see this group of two, and a couple of us kind of keep the pressure on just to catch that front group, use our momentum. And so as we catch those two guys, there's still one off the front, one or two off the front. And so I use my feather to get up over this hill and just kind of keep the pressure on. I figure if I'm gonna, if I'm starting to create a gap, then I'm just gonna push and keep going till I reach these two guys, because I don't know if at this point I wasn't looking to see whether or not the group was that far behind me. When I do check, I see that everyone's, super close, no real gap. And so I just kind of ease into this group and we all come back together coming down the KOM. As usual, I'm on the Pinarello Dogma F2024 with the NB78 wheels. I feel like even though the disc wheels would be better for this stage because of a lot of the flatter sections and downhill, I like these NB78s and feel like they offer the best for me in terms of climbing. They give me the ability to keep up on the climbs, as well as perform on the flats. They offer a good aerodynamic advantage. They're not the best when it comes to aero, but they offer a good aerodynamic advantage. And so again, as we get to the start of the second lap, we start to climb up. A couple guys are pushing a little hard off the front, so I'm holding the mid 300s just to kind of stay with them. Again, I don't know if they're going to push to the point where they pass and like we end up breaking away. And so I'm just doing my best to kind of hold on here. It's starting to hurt a bit, especially this once I hit this first climb, I realized like my quads are sore. My quads are a little bit tight. Even though the FRR stage that I rode was hard, it wasn't, because it was an ITT and I was able to kind of not go as fast on the in between the segments. My legs weren't hurting so bad today on today's race. I was feeling good, which is why I end up I kept pushing up to the front, ultimately kept kind of pushing the pace. I was trying to hold a stronger wattage on the climbs. You see that one person come flying past me for the sprint. It looks like they hit a pretty good sprint. I don't know if I saw that correctly, but they hit a 12-second sprint, something like that, which considering this isn't a FTS or FAL type of stage, I don't worry about trying to sprint through these. At this point, I'm just trying to stay with the group. I know that, the Zwift KOM is where all the magic is going to happen in terms of breakaways or any sort of anything. At least that's what I thought. And so as we round the corner here, we're all still kind of get together. Person off the front is slowly being caught back up. And so I'm keeping an eye on that, because knowing that we're slowly, catching up to that person, I don't want to put any pressure on myself to try and, break away from this group and catch them again. I'm doing my best to kind of use my steering to kind of stay in the middle of the pack, but also, corner a little bit better on these turns, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. At the fast forward speed that I'm at, you're not really going to see where it kind of doesn't work. At least not entirely. So, I start to push hard here because I see a couple guys are breaking away, and this is where I said I thought the Zwift KOM was going to be where the main split was going to happen, but it actually happened there. You see that, we've got a couple seconds on the people behind us, 2 to 4 seconds. for the group behind us. This front group, which is about 9 or so people, starts to establish. We got, a group off the back 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then another one 7 seconds behind. And so I'm really starting to see that this, front group of about 10 or so riders is gonna make it to the end. We're the ones that are basically starting to pull away, and this is going to be it. These are the ultimately who are going to be the top 10 to cross the line. So at this point, I'm looking at who else is in here, and some of the names I recognize, some of the names I don't, and so I don't know what to expect coming up to the Zwift KOM. I pushed off the front a little bit, but I'm not trying to break away. I'm just trying to hold my pace and kind of let the draft push me back into the group. And so you see this little line starts to form. And so I kind of push into the left a little bit because I don't want to be out in the wind. And as we start to approach this turn, we start to speed up just a little bit. You can't really see it in the watts, but we are starting to speed up a bit. Spinning my legs out. I'm in the 39 tooth ring and just trying to, do my best to spin it out. Or maybe in the 53. I think it was in the 53. And so I hit this really hard, and this person, whoever that was, passes me like I was standing still. Truly a, coyote versus roadrunner type of style where he just took off. And I thought, so my goal with the second KOM was to try and beat my PR of 212. And I thought I could do it. As I hit the top of that first half, I realized I was just not going to, especially not keep up with that person. Wasn't going to keep up. And so I did my best to just hold my wattage into the 300s as I came up, this part of the KOM, the 6-7%. Got to this middle section, took a quick breather. A couple more guys passed me, and I start to realize that if I don't kick it into high gear, I'm going to continue to fall behind. And so right now, as I'm in 9th place, I see the front group is completely split apart. Big splits. I've got a guy 7-8 seconds ahead of me. Couple, one person about 8, 9, 10 seconds ahead or behind me. And so I'm thinking, as long as I can, push and kind of keep the pressure on myself, stay in the, mid 200s, FTP kind of range, I might be able to catch up to the person in front of me. But what I don't want to do is let the person behind me catch me without them putting in a lot of effort as well. And so I use my feather going up this part of the hill because that's really the only place left to use it. After we get through this drop, there's really nothing left. And so you can see on the map below that I adjusted my map so that way it zooms in on the segments and then zooms back out for the actual full, for the full thing when you're not in a segment. And so as I'm coming down through here, take a quick breather because I know that, as this person's coming up, catching up behind me, they're 3 seconds behind. I need to maintain somewhat of a strong pace just to get to the finish line. I see a guy a couple seconds ahead of me, and I'm thinking maybe I can catch them. But at this point, I am exhausted, and I know that I just need to hold my wattage in the 300-400 range to be able to get to the line without getting caught. And that's basically what happened. So I crossed the line in 9th place, which I was happy to cross the line in 9th place because I feel like this was a much stronger group than we normally race with on the range 1 days. And so because of that, I feel like, for the first time, I felt like I kept up with the guys that I would consider like, pace category B type of riders, where normally I would get dropped by this kind of a group on, one of the climbs, either through the S's or through the Zwift KOM, and they would be gone, minutes ahead of me. In previous races, I would, lose by minutes. And so this time around, only, losing, maybe 30 seconds for, almost 40 seconds to the winner. I felt great about that. And, know that it's another sign that I'm improving. And so JD came in not that far behind me in 14th place, which is phenomenal. He definitely finished strong on this one, considering we blew up the second part of that climb on the hill, specifically on the first hill of the S's, and then obviously up the Zwift KOM. We blew up the group and did our best to kind of split that group. And so him coming in right behind me, he did a fantastic job. And so ultimately, I was glad I beat Leduc because, again, that was a person that I was looking to beat in this stage. I don't know whether he was having an off day or he just didn't want to try. Either way, I'm in 9th. He's not. So, if he does happen to watch this, I enjoy the competition and I would love to continue to race with him because that's the nature of racing. Some days we do good, other days we don't. And so I am getting ready for Danger Noodle tomorrow, which is going to be an epic way to finish this ZRL Season 3 and hopefully get into the whatever the ZRL finals are. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on the next one.